Today I'm going to start all over with only OP pets, no cheat code fruit or extra help from my main account, and in this empty garden, I'm gonna turn it into a trillionaire paradise. Now remember, I'm not taking any help from my main account, otherwise the challenge would be too easy. Starting off, we're broke. The only thing we can afford right now is 2 pieces of a carrot seed. These 2 carrots are pretty trash, but none of this matters since we got some OP pets that noobs normally don't have. Right now, our main goal was to make as much money as we can in just 6 hours. So we needed to have a great start. But since this video is going to take a long time, I decided I'll give a free raccoon if I hit $1 trillion in this challenge. Anyways, as we were talking, look what we got. A gold strawberry. Although it's not really worth that much, I can't really complain with $100 in my wallet. And we also have a huge strawberry. Let's check how much this strawberry sells for. Not bad, for our first fruit is gonna make us $400. Let's also check what stocks we have. And we don't have any good stocks. Now I have a plan for this video. Get as many pollinated plants and buy flower seed packs. Hopefully we get sunflower or dragon pepper, so we gotta start getting some pollinated plants soon. And just like that, an event started. It was the new bee swarm event, which means my plants are now gonna get the pollinated mutation. Bad news is that these strawberries weigh close to nothing, so I'm gonna need at least 40 of these to generate some honey. Can I even make it in 10 minutes? And so I started harvesting every single strawberries I could find. Small or big didn't matter. It just has to be pollinated. And even after grinding so much, I still couldn't reach the 10-kilogram requirement for making honey. And so the event ended and now I gotta wait 1 more hour. In the meantime, I swapped my OP pets with bees because I need pollinated plants more than money right now. And the seed stock, like usual, didn't have anything good. I needed big plants, even bigger than your mother. Plus half my bees were hungry and unpaid, just like those Temu workers in China. I needed a solution, and fast. And so I brought my main account to give me some plants. Not for selling, but for feeding my poor, hungry slaves. With my bees fed to the brim, it was now time for them to work tirelessly. Progress was smooth, if only a miracle happened. Yes, that's exactly what I needed. A big, juicy pumpkin, but sadly I can only buy one. If this one pumpkin can get pollinated, then I have enough honey to buy some flower seed pack and get some really cool stuff. Although the bad news is that pumpkin takes a long time to grow. But even without the pumpkin, I was almost there. I could feel it. So I compressed my first honey. And I also bought my first seed pack. If I get sunflower from this pack, I'm gonna freak out. At least it seems like I have shit luck in all my accounts. Fantastic! But still, getting this rose means I'm getting closer and closer to my goal. Just as I was checking on my fruits, I struck gold, like literally a gold rose. Even though rose was the most common pack in the flower seed pack, it still went for $4,000 on average, so a gold rose like this, I'm already too rich. And as if Jandel was looking after me, I even got 13 bamboo seeds. This should help me get a lot of pollinated points. And so I planted my bamboos, destroyed some of my plants, because now I had some really heavy plants, and I know you want to say it with me. As heavy as your mother. Things were looking good. I was now out of the homeless man phase and on my way to be a waiter at a restaurant. I even got a huge bamboo, almost the same size my dad used to beat me with, and as expected, only one was needed to make honey. Soon I bought my second seed pack, and like a drug addict, I was shaking in my boots to open this pack up. Jesus Christ, my luck is so good right now. This changes everything because on average, a single lilac sells for $31,000. And so my progress was going too smoothly. What I needed now was even bigger and heavier plants so that I can get honey with just 1 fruit. And just like that, the second bee swarm event started. I can't wait for all my plants to pollinate. One by one, all my plants pollinated. Making honey was now too easy, and now we're off to a great start. Now let's open our third seed pack. Hopefully we get, never mind, another rose in our roster, but I know we're getting closer to 1 trillion. And as I was compressing honey, a huge golden monkey appeared out of nowhere. This event is only exclusive to sunflower, so it was practically a useless event for me. And so I checked on some plants that I can craft, and honestly, these new plants are pretty bad. The only one that catches my eye is nectar thorn. With the swarm event ending, I made a total of 30 honey, good enough for me to get 3 seed packs and hopefully get sunflower. Although even if I didn't get sunflower, lilac was a pretty good alternative, but the only problem is that the chances of it becoming big is very, very low. And as time went by, I sold my inventory, checked the useless stock, which didn't have anything good, and spent my hour AFK in my garden, waiting for a miracle to happen. And the miracle did happen. Dragon fruit was in stock, one of the best early game plants that can help me get even more honeys. And I even got one coconut tree, which changes everything. You see, coconuts on average weighed more than your average fruit, and I need 10 kilograms to compress my honey, and this tree solved all of my issues. But the only problem is that coconut and dragon fruit take years to grow. So I went AFK in my private server for 2 hours. On the 50-minute mark, I had a half-grown dragon fruit and a coconut tree that still looked like a newborn. But in the end, everything turned out great. The coconuts were huge for some reason, and the dragon fruits were the same sizes too. Now all that's left is to clear out my garden of any small plants and only keep the big ones. So yeah, the roses had to go. I thought about deleting the lilac too, but I needed money, so I kept it. And like usual, I was back to grinding honey. I needed to get as many flower seed packs as I can and then convert it into crafter seed pack. As time went on, I made one crafter seed pack after the other. Maybe this time I'll have luck. And with every seed pack I made, my addiction to gambling became worse. I was shaking. I needed the stimulus, and so I opened my packs. So what if I got a shitty plant? I'm a calm guy, so it didn't really affect me much. I moved on and grinded even harder because now these symptoms of addiction was getting worse. I did not move an inch from the compressor machine. Instead, I just began compressing like I was the machine. I stopped at 230 honey points, which was enough for me to start making tons of crafter seed pack. I didn't have much hope for this seed pack, so I just opened it like it was another common drop. I couldn't believe it. A dragon pepper on my third seed pack. This alt account had too much luck that I was even jealous of it. Without wasting a single second, I planted it. This was my ticket to $1 trillion and maybe $1 quadrillion. And so I took care of it, showed the plant more love than I ever got, treated it like my own son. It was almost like when you got a younger sibling and they got all the attention now. Just like that, I started deleting all the plants in my garden and started preparing to nurture my dragon pepper into a huge size. I needed to make some sprays, especially the shock spray, to put the shock mutation on my dragon pepper, effectively increasing its value by 100 times. I also didn't need my worthless bees anymore, so I tossed them into my basement where they won't be seeing sunlight for a few months and put in my OP pets, 2 dragonfly and 1 disco bee. Now all I had to do was wait. I could see the fruits of my labor growing by the second, and as time went by, one by one, my dragon peppers became golden. It was now time to test how much these babies go for, and so I harvested my dragon peppers, all except one. This proved to be too high up for my scrawny little legs. I was limited by my own character to harvest my fruit, but I will change that soon. Leaving that aside, it was now time to check my prices. This small dragon pepper went for a whopping 9 million. This was it. My life just took a huge turn. So I decided to stretch my legs a little, teleporting here and there to check if there was any master sprinkler or godly to use on my dragon pepper. I was also pretty much done with not being able to get that one dragon pepper, so I planted my lilac plants right next to it for easy access. Now I can easily harvest all the dragon peppers. The only problem now is to make them as big as possible and start farming them. And for that, I needed sprinklers, which were very hard to get, especially the master sprinkler. And so I sat there contemplating on whether or not I should call upon reinforcements. But just then, my main account suddenly appeared and started planting godly sprinklers and basic sprinklers in my garden. You can tell from the video, but I was super mad. I asked him to stop multiple times, but he didn't listen. And so I left the server before he could do more harm. Now that the imposter's gone, I could now safely check on my plants and see if they grew huge or not. And holy crap, this lilac was huge. It could possibly go for more than 100 billion, while the dragon pepper was kinda alright. You see, even though dragon pepper is a divine fruit, and it's supposed to be on the same level as sunflower and moon blossom, it was practically dog crap since its value was so bad. By the time I'd gotten decent-sized fruits, it was already time for the summer update. I needed to get money and fast. And to do that, I needed mutations, and it would seem like I had no luck, because none of my fruits were getting any of the admin mutations. And just like that, the summer update started. I ended up not getting a single mutation on either of my plants. I had no choice but to move on and make something out of what I already had. I had a bunch of mushrooms too. Turning them golden took no time. Now I just had to wait for it to get more than 5 mutations and then use my butterfly to turn them all rainbow. Even with a dragon pepper of this size, it only sold for around 35 million. So rather than dragon pepper, I was more focused on my lilac. And so I waited till all my fruit and plant had more than 5 mutations, because then my butterfly pet will make it rainbow. And the good thing about the butterfly pet is that I can favorite any plant and it will ignore it. So now only my lilacs and dragon peppers were affected. But there was one problem. I had gone AFK for several hours, yet my plants did not become rainbow, and I knew why. You see, right after the update, my butterfly and everyone's butterfly started having a seizure and stopped using its ability. In simple terms, there was a bug with the butterfly's ability. But just as quickly as I discovered the bug, they also had it fixed in a shadow update. These guys like to work in the shadows a lot. And so my lilac and one of my huge dragon peppers became rainbow. But I would still need lots of mutations for it to be worth anything. And so I needed to use better pets. Just one disco bee was clearly not enough, but I didn't have any more. So I tossed in some chicken zombies and waited for some good mutations on my babies. After waiting for a few hours, I finally had some good mutations on my dragon pepper and decent mutations on my lilac as well. But I still needed one more mutation on my lilac, the disco mutation. Coincidentally, it was almost time for my pet to. Never mind. Well, screw that. Plans changed. Remember when I said I won't ever use my main account's help? Well, no one said I couldn't use my alt's alt for help. So my alt's alt logged in. He already had so many juicy candy blossoms, but I'm not here to steal his candy blossom. Instead, he's gonna steal my dragon pepper and lilac. I started preparing for his raccoons to steal my fruits, taking away any small plants that would sabotage my plan. Then a few minutes later, the first raccoon came to steal my fruit. I wonder what he's gonna steal this time. And just like that, I made possibly a few $1 billion. I hope nothing goes wrong. My lilac had disappeared. What seemed like my alt giving my other alt the stolen lilac was instead given as pet food for my raccoon. There goes my $1 billion lilac. Amazing. But still, I managed to grab a dragon pepper, which I then sold for $3 billion. This is so bad for such a rare plant. So I waited another 14 minutes for the raccoons to start stealing again. And luckily for me, they stole my lilac, which I presume to be worth at least $100 billion. Let's check how much it would go for. $27 billion. It's not bad, but I expected more. I remember a lilac of similar size selling for close to $900 billion. So maybe this lilac got nerfed because the value was very underwhelming. So now I had more problems than solutions. I had made too many mistakes. Luck was not on my side as things were just getting shadow nerfed. I had no way of making the nectar thorn to get tons of money too. So the only solution was to steal my alt's candy blossoms. But just stealing them would be too easy, so I decided to make them into rainbow and lose all their mutations and start from scratch. And so it began. I started swapping all my pets to the other account so that I could nurture the candy blossoms into being a monster of a plant. It would take time, but it would all be worth it. A few hours later, my candy blossoms had now become rainbow. All it needed now was decent mutation like shocked or disco. And as if Jandel was listening to me, I had gotten shocked on both of my juicy candy blossoms. It was GG. The only thing I needed to do now was to wait for my raccoons to steal everything. One by one, my cash bag was filling up. Every 15 minutes, I became richer than I ever was. Turning the candy blossoms rainbow was a great idea. It was now time to start selling all of them. Remember when I said I would gift a raccoon for reaching 1 trillion? Consider that done, and since I did cheat a little, I'm gonna give away one more raccoon, so 2 winners for this video. And although this video ended unsatisfyingly, make no mistake, I will come back with better strats as I have learned from my mistakes. My stupid didn't consider that lilac would get nerfed, or that nectar thorn would be removed. But in the next video, I will do much better. So for now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and join my Discord to enter the raccoon giveaway that will be happening soon. See you in the next video.